Hello, Matt here. In today's episode, we try to fit the N13 into E36 chassis. Now, I already did some thinking, measuring, looking at stuff, and we did that while we were taking the old engine out, so let me show you this part first. Now, for the gearboxes. 5-speed, 6-speed. Old, new. Both are get trucks, so this means mount fits, and by the looks of it, drive shaft should fit. And that's some very nice news right there, because yeah, that makes it easy for us. Now, a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit. First off, clutch. Slave cylinder is on the wrong side. The exhaust will be going on the other side, so it's better to have the clutch on this one. Oh, there, shifter. Oh, I'm not sure the shifters. Oh no, shifter will not fit. It's different. But we need to try out. Let's test the shifters. Let's see what's the difference in length and everything. This is the shifter situation. So, as I said, this is the E36 one. The difference is here. But what I think how we can make it work is by cutting off this part and cutting off this part and combining them. We should be able to put this one inside here, just drill 2 holes, bolt it in, adjust everything so it works, and then have someone weld it in. I don't know, we'll see. But as I said, in my opinion, that should work for now. As I already mentioned, gearbox mount is good. Here we have to make 2 mounts. Again, I'm fascinated by the state of this car. 5 centimeters to the side and in an F20, and also around 8 centimeters towards the front. Mounting to these holes, we'll just have 2 plates, weld it together and build something off of it. But hey, we have to start somewhere, and yeah, where I'm going to start is by washing this engine and washing that gearbox, because they are dirty and I need this as a mock-up block, at least for now until we build it, if we build it, so I can try and fit it in the car. Alright, way better. Now I can grab a hold of the engine and not get dirty as hell. I mean, it's still not perfect. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Who pressure washes an opened block? I do, because this is junk. It's paperweight at this point. So yeah, I don't give up. It needs to be machined either way. Also, I really thought this was black. That's how dirty it was. Damn. And yeah, I know what you're saying. This will get clean once more before we put it into a car. Also, I will take the throw-out bearing out and put the new one in, because it will rust out now. But hey. Now, hopefully, if I was right, and if this does fit as I said, today we'll just fit the gearbox to the engine and get them into the car. Now, that should allow us to mount the gearbox. We can then just make the mounts for the engine. We'll just leave it resting on a subframe. So yeah, let's start by, well, removing the block from the stand and mounting it to the gearbox. All right, the engine is in, the gearbox is mounted, it's on the mount, it's where it should be. The engine is, I think, where it should be. First problem, filter, oil filter, not going to work. Doesn't really matter because I wanted to relocate the filter either way. So yeah, we need 2AN hoses, we need a plate that will block this off, and I know where to get one. And we will send the hoses down and relocate the filter somewhere in the front of the engine. That's not a big problem. Here is a bit tight, even though this needs to go out. This will not be here, that goes on the other side, and also this also goes on the other side. So yeah, seems like that might work too. Fortunately, this mount here is falling on the chassis, but not too much, so I think we can get that to work. Either way, now it's time to just put the head on and see where we are at. This will be a lot harder than we thought. As you can see, the head is not on, because what we will need to do is clearance the bulkhead, because while the head would go on, if we remove the high pressure fuel pump and vacuum pump, well, there's nowhere else to put them, so we need to make some space. Also, the other thing, now that the head is on, I can see that, well, the engine is not mounted correctly. The front end of the engine should go a bit lower, and yeah, I don't have enough space to lower it because the sump is in the way. The sump is in the way. So yeah, basically we need to cut the part of the sump to clearance it. Not ideal. Also, I don't understand why it's rotated. Does it need to be like that? Time to give it a rethink. There is still some room. The only part we are falling on is right about here. Here we still have some room. Let's try to adjust it a tiny bit. Yes, the head is on the block. Tight, tight. As I said, we still need to lower it a bit, and then it should be better. But let's try and fit the hood to see where the clearances are. Yeah. Das ist sehr gut. Oh yeah. We actually have enough clearance, and the exhaust exits, well, maybe we'll have to bend this reinforcement bar down there, but there is enough space for exhaust to exit. We'll move the fueling, as I said, to the other side, and this is, well, starting to make sense now.
One eternity later.
Now there's a nice hole in the subframe. It's full of dirt. We'll have to clean that up a bit, but whatever. For now, we'll grab the sump and see where we are. See, now we have a lot more room to play, and it's even under the subframe, which means it can go a tiny bit upwards, and that's perfect. Next plan, as I said, we put the engine and gearbox together, try to fit them in to see how it looks. Now the engine mounts on this engine, well, they will be a complete pain because you can see these are on a very different plane of existence. So there's problem number one, and then on this side these two are on a different plane. So there's problem number two. Now before we start putting this engine in, we will use this piece of scrap as everything. Cut some plates in, drill them and get them to fit here. Once we have these in place, we'll have, well, kind of a base to work from. You'll see it when we put the engine in, but for now let's put the plates in. We need them either way. So first we have this done in CAD. Now let's translate it to steel. So the first base plate is in. That's the hardest one, with offset to the bolts, if you remember. Bolts in nicely. Will look good once finished. Now we have to switch to this one. Herb. What is this? So this one is not important, but we will cover it. Either way, we will cover it. Okay, we have what should be the holes. Now to cut it off. And we have another CAD ready to go into the metal. Now we have 3 CAD templates we need to translate to steel. The engine is in the car. It sits where I want it to sit. It's a bit lower than the last time you saw it, as you can see. The sump is in line with the subframe, which I like. That's it. We have enough space for this downpipe. For the cat, well, not so much. Yes, but this does work. I mean, it's very, very tight with the steering shaft, but as you can see, there is enough space. Here we have a doozy of a job, because just straight plate like this, then the reinforcement bar down here, maybe a bit up there just for the looks, and we're done with this side. Simple as it can get. How to connect this one? Ooh, I don't know. See, the problem here is, well, this is in the way. If I go over it, I have to go far back like this. Then this needs to be removed. Okay, that will not be a problem. There is another mount down there. It's held on by the rubber mount down there to the gearbox, so that will be plenty sturdy. That's not a problem. But then I have to go like over here and down here, which of course is doable. But the other idea I have is to go from down here straight here and directly to the subframe.
This car is literally turning to dust. That's an engine mount, by the way.
This is Mini's rear control arm, which I have 4 of these as an extras. Could use a BMW one. Why? Because, well, why waste one when I have this? So, first off, I need to measure the distance from here to there. Then we'll sew this in half. Then we'll sew it in one more piece, because there needs to be a bend here. You know what? Let me just get that in there, weld it to that, and you'll then understand what I mean. So this is the new plan. I'm not happy with the fact that it's a single shear point. Yeah, that's not the greatest, but we'll get it down here like that, and then from here we'll cut it off here and weld in a piece to connect there, and hopefully that will do. Not the prettiest design, but once we get it, you know how they say, grinder and paint make me the welder I ain't. This mount is done. Now I'm still thinking about triangulating it here, but I'm not sure it's really needed because is it dry enough? You can see it's boxed in basically, so it's not boxed in, but it does have strengthening all the way across, and I don't think this should bend. And here we have the left mount also finished. Not yet, we need to paint both of them, but you can see what I did here. Boxed it in, so it gives it a bit of rigidity, and there is also a piece of steel welded in here. You saw that as well as a support to give it a bit more rigidity. Here we are. This engine is now supported by those mounts. As you can see, there is a shim here and there's a shim there, and that's because we are idiots. We didn't account for the droop the engine mounts will have. We've set the engine in this position. It's almost perfect now. Actually, it was 1 millimeter lower, and yeah, it drooped for about 5 millimeters, touching the subframe. Now we have these shims. These are 6mm shims, and yeah, it works. So basically, yeah, that's how we'll solve it. We'll just get new shims made, 5mm shims, because we have at least 5mm of space here. But yeah, all in all, this is it. The engine is now in the car. I mean, it's physically mounted. There is still more than a lot of work to be done. We need all the plumbing, electricity, and after all, well, we still need to build this engine. But for that, you'll need to wait until the next video. So why not subscribe? Maybe give this one a like. You know you want to, and it really helps us out. So yeah, subscribe, like, share, and as always, I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye.